I want to tell you a story about your own life, about the year that you've just begun, about the goals, accomplishments, and everything else that can happen when you're not afraid to try. Trying, if we're honest, is one of the most embarrassing things that you can do. It's the public admission of, I'm not good at this yet, but I really want to be. It feels vulnerable to admit not only our lack of skill, but our deep desire for something that we don't have yet. But the trouble is, all the success and achievements that you're seeking are on the other side of trying.
I never would have gotten this if I was afraid of looking silly doing this. I used to be so insecure that people would see me vlogging in public and think, oh my god, what a wannabe. I bet she has like 300 subscribers. And even now that I have 300,000 subscribers, I think that A, the people who see me vlogging in public just don't care that much. And B, even if they did, they're still gonna think I'm cringy whether I'm trying or succeeding at being a YouTuber.
No song lyrics have ever quite spoken to me like, I've never been a natural. All I do is try, try, try. Honestly, I've never felt like these creative things have come easily to me. I've not ever felt like I'm overflowing with natural talent, but what I do have is determination. Through sheer force of will, I've made many of my dreams come true. I became a full-time YouTuber after 10 years of obsessing over this platform. I learned Spanish from scratch at age 27 because I'd always wanted to speak a second language, and I wanted to try van life, so I bought a cargo van with the money I made from YouTube, converted it into a camper, and shipped it to Europe to travel through my dream destination of the Scottish Highlands. At one point in time, I had no idea how to grow a YouTube channel or learn Spanish, and certainly not how to design an off-grid plumbing system for a camper van. I was not good at those things, but I tried them anyway. It was hard, frustrating, and at many times very cringy, but I tried nonetheless. And I want you to try too. The steady onward march of life makes it so much easier to stick with what we know, what we're already good at, but all the best things in life are waiting for you on the other side of effort, dedication, persistence, and discipline. But it all starts by trying something that you're not good at and building the life that you're dreaming of, one small, embarrassing attempt at a time. So I fear the first step on this journey, and I'm gonna hold your hand while I tell you this, is to get over yourself. I really believe that one of the biggest things getting in the way of people following their dreams, let's say for example, their dream of becoming a content creator, is this fear of being seen as cringe or as a wannabe or a tryhard. Our society really glorifies effortlessness. It's like we want you to be really good at stuff, but we absolutely do not want to see you trying. It's kind of like how women are expected to look beautiful all the time, but it has to be this like no makeup look. Like if we can tell that you have makeup on, well then that's just tacky. We don't want to see that. You're trying too hard. And while this is definitely the case for any skill that you want to develop, I think that this is precisely why becoming a content creator is so psychologically fraught, because by its very nature, it's an extremely public thing. It's all about having an audience, and that audience, including your friends and family, are going to have to see you trying before they see you succeeding. And that can be hard to accept. I remember when I was first getting started on YouTube years ago, my plan was to make videos pretty much secretly, like not tell any of my friends at school. And then finally, once I had a bunch of subscribers, I'd come back to school and be like, look guys, I'm a YouTuber and I'm so good at it. But that's not realistic. It actually wasn't until I told the people in my life about my goal that I got their support, mostly moral support, but also help sometimes with filming, that I was actually able to really grow. And I don't necessarily think that like telling the people in your life about your goal is some like secret growth hack, but I think in my case anyway, it was symbolic of a shift towards more confidence in myself and not feeling like I needed to hide this like really dorky hobby I was doing. And I think embracing that level of confidence is what helped me grow. Basically, by trying to become successful before anybody sees you trying, you're actually low-key holding yourself back from honestly trying it all. So I want to remind you, it's okay to be bad at something. In fact, I think it's actually really admirable because it means that you're trying something new, you're going out of your comfort zone, you're growing and evolving, and that's not something that everybody is brave enough to do. Once you're at peace with being bad at something and you've left behind that fear of being cringe, That's when the real magic starts to happen. Step 2 is learning to love the process. I know that might sound cliche and everybody loves to say that, but you actually can hack your brain to make it crave creating so that you actually look forward to doing the work that you're gonna need to do in order to achieve your goals. If writing scripts and filming and editing videos all feel like a chore to you, it's gonna be really hard to do them as often as you need to in order to actually see results. Because while I completely believe in you and I know you can become a full-time content creator, I also know that it's not gonna happen overnight. You need to sustain these actions over a long period of time to get where you wanna be. And so that's why it's so crucial to learn to love doing all of those things, because you're gonna be at them for a while. So here are a few simple ways to hack your brain and program it to love doing the work. Number 1, ritualize the work. Make it feel like a fun and special thing every time you sit down to work on one of these tasks around content creation. Maybe you light a candle, make your favorite drink, or you could go to a nice coffee shop. Build something that you look forward to doing into the task, and you'll start to look forward to do the task as well. For me, filming is kind of the part of the process that I always dread the most. It just takes a lot of patience and energy. I'm constantly pausing because it's noisy outside. I'm setting up all these different camera angles. I always get sweaty somehow. My hack for making filming more fun than it is, I always start by filming the A-roll because I find that the most challenging. I just have to be fully locked in for that. But once I'm done that, I record all of my B-roll and I listen to an audiobook while I do it. This means that I can push myself through recording the A-roll because I know that I'm gonna get the little treat of getting to listen to my book after I'm done. Number 2, celebrate the small wins that you can control. To motivate yourself along this journey, you need to celebrate your accomplishments. But I would really recommend that you try not to have them focused on external validations like subscriber count milestones or certain view counts, but instead focus them on things you can control, like posting your 10th video or learning a new editing technique. Over time, this will make your brain associate the completion of work with the satisfaction, with the celebration, and it'll make you more excited about doing the work. I've learned over the years that I'm like an extremely intrinsically motivated person. So for me, just like accomplishing something, like finishing a video, uploading it is just like so satisfying that I don't do a lot of like celebrating it, to be honest. Maybe I should do it more, but I think it can be a good method for people that are more extrinsically motivated. Like this can be your built-in extrinsic motivation, is like the little celebration that's coming afterwards. Okay, and number 3, reduce your cheap dopamine intake. No one's gonna wanna hear this, but it's so true. You need to stop scrolling so much. You can still be informed and relevant and on trend as a content creator with 1 hour of screen time a day. You don't need 7. Not only do I want to advocate for you being intentional with your time and the content that you consume online, but as creators, I also want us to be intentional and thoughtful about the content that we put out there for consumption. So much of what is out there online is just designed to like keep our attention by giving us the most outlandish or like rage baity type of subject matter. And while it's tempting to lean into that strategy as creators, let's try to be a little more thoughtful, okay? Because the thing is, when you allow your brain to have so much cheap dopamine, like you get from scrolling on TikTok, all of the creative and productive tasks that you need to do to reach your goals are gonna feel really boring in comparison. It's kind of like, you know, when you're like eating candy or chocolate and then you go and eat a piece of fruit right after that, the fruit does not taste sweet at all. It's kind of similar to that. When you spend all this time scrolling on TikTok and then you go to write a YouTube script, the idea of writing just seems like the most boring task possible. It's funny, like I remember being a nerdy little 11-year-old with like pretty limited access to, you know, the internet and social media. I mean, social media barely existed back then. And I sort of thought I wanted to be an author one day, and I would spend all this time after school writing my own little books. And it was so entertaining for me because I could escape into my imagination, create my own stories similar to the ones that I love to read. And it was just genuinely so much fun to do. And it was fun because there wasn't these amazingly entertaining alternatives available to me. That's the kind of motivation and creativity that you can have access to when your brain is not constantly fried from short form videos. You can actually have fun creating because it is a fun thing to do. You just need to remind your brain that it is. Even as you transition from trying to succeeding, you're still probably gonna feel like you're just trying. Honestly, I feel like I'm still trying to be a content creator. Like I've never really felt like I made it. But look, after all of this effort, you deserve to feel like you accomplished something. You should feel like you made it, and you should confidently call yourself a content creator. Maybe this advice is just as much for me as it is for you. But really, I think that the lesson is that we can't derive our validation from external sources. Even though I honestly really believe that the majority of people that like seek out content creation as a hobby or as a career, myself included, I will admit this, are sort of a little bit starved for validation, and we're really seeking it out on the internet. And that's why like making viral videos and getting high view counts can be so addicting. But not to be your therapist or anything, but I do think we need to work really hard to find validation in our own efforts and our own hard work, and in the transformation of our skill sets, the improvement in our confidence, and not so much in the numbers, which is hard, but I think it's important to try. Because really, whether or not you ever grow a large audience, I think that you should feel a lot of pride in the work that you've put in, and the fact that you went out of your way to start something fun and creative that nobody was forcing you to do. You had a vision and you created something for yourself. That is something that the vast majority of people will never do. Now, I will admit that the views and subscribers are certainly a significant piece of the puzzle when it comes to turning this into a full-time job, but they shouldn't be required for you to feel proud of yourself and the creative work that you've done. Pursuing this crazy career of being a YouTuber has truly changed my life. Even before I had a large audience, I learned skills around videography, editing, and social media that got me interesting internships and eventually freelance work. That freelance work gave me the flexibility to further pursue YouTube, and eventually through dedication and consistency, that became my primary income. This job has allowed me to meet new friends from around the world, travel more than I ever would have dreamed of, and get to be creative every day for my job. I truly feel so grateful for it, and I want you to know that it is possible for you too. I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be easy or fast, but the first step of following your biggest and most wildest dreams is not being afraid to try. Bringing it back to my other wild and crazy dream of doing van life, I always find it so interesting the conversations that come up with people when you're meeting them for the first time and you have a maybe like unconventional part of your life that comes up in conversation. Because inevitably, if people are asking me about my hobbies or what I've been doing lately and I mention van life, honestly, so often I've gotten the response from people of, "Oh my God, that's so cool. I've always thought about doing that." And while I know in many of these cases, people are probably just trying to be polite and nice to me, or even if not, they maybe are just very satisfied with having thought of it. But that response does kind of make me a little bit sad, because I just think like I would hate to go around in my life thinking, "Oh, I've always thought about doing that," with some of my biggest dreams. I just really think that you don't want to be an "I've always thought about doing that" person. You want to be an "I did that" person. Let me tell you, planning is easy, but doing is hard. You can spend forever plotting and researching and strategizing, but at some point, you need to just do something about it. This year is gonna go by, probably faster than any of us want it to, and I don't want you looking back at the end of it thinking, "Another year that I didn't pursue this." The time is gonna pass anyway. You might as well spend it putting in the effort to see your dreams come to life. And look, I'm gonna be here for you every step of the way. I post mostly weekly videos with tips and encouragement for content creators, so make sure you're subscribed. And if you haven't seen it already, you should check out this video that I made that has an extensive 12-month plan that's gonna help guide you to becoming a full-time content creator this year. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really, really hope that you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!